Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello. Hi. Mariam Longa. I like the cap. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm trying to be really extra and express myself this year.
Yeah, you're really expressive. We can see it.
We're doing hats. Next thing, I'm shocking Nima. Nima is just, every time I come, she's like, another one today. Like, so I'm good, I'm fine, looking forward to the weekend.
Right.
I've been resting. See, so towards the end of last year and beginning of this year, I struggled a lot with sleeping. And there was just so much on my mind. And I think it was Nima that understood me. She was like, see, sometimes these stories that we read, it goes home with us. You know, and when she said that, it occurred to me, sometimes I have these stories running through my head over and over again. So when you're not here, you're not reading the paper or you're not constantly watching the news, you can sort of create a bubble for yourself and live your life. But when you're constantly reading these stories, they don't leave you. You don't just get off from the show and then that's it. Yeah. But I'm getting to sleep better, and the makeup artist is showing.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show. Hi, Nima.
I got some shocks yesterday. It was a full activity yesterday, so I woke up in the morning, just didn't feel to being anywhere else but with my parents. So
really? So you went to mommy and daddy's house?
Yes, I went to see mommy and daddy. And thanks.
Sometimes nothing is necessary.
I'm telling you, it's one of the best ways to unwind. You know, I used to have this. My mom says, Nima hardly says a prayer without it happening immediately. So I said a prayer all through the night, the day before. I didn't sleep. And before 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I got an answer. I was like, I've lost that magic since. She then looked at me. And so it was really, for me, it was like a journey. I needed to go home. I needed people who knew me to talk to me. It was really nice.
It's good. It's a nice
being pampered by daddy.
How are you doing?
Talking about parents, my mom is home.
Yay!
Monday.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, spoiling the children silly.
Yeah, she always does.
The kids are on midterm break, right?
Yes, they are midterm.
Very
My
good.
elder daughter, my Ada, is around. But aside from that, I've been getting a lot of coaching jobs. So people reach out to me that they want me to help them.
That's good.
Yeah, for goal setting. And while we're doing the makeup this month, someone just reached out to me. I want you to coach me on my goal setting and credited me. She has paid already.
Child.
So
You know, you promised me one lunch.
we do the lunch.
That lunch that I never. People are wondering.
And what I try to do is, you know, I find out, I follow up over time just to ensure that you are keeping what you have promised, that you are committed to do, and ensure that it's not just about the money for me. It's about did I make impact? Were you able to achieve the goal at the end of the day?
But I don't think, beyond that, I think what is also important is that people are seeing that coaching is an option.
Yes,
because before, you just go through, like we heard somebody died a few days ago, jumped off the 3rd Million Bridge. You need help. Listen, you don't have all the answers, and you must begin to understand you can reach out to people. Sometimes you have to pay for these services because you actually train yourself. But people must understand how important it is. You need to get help.
I get coached myself. I'm overwhelmed sometimes.
Sometimes you pay dearly for not paying.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, right.
Fantastic.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
You look so pretty today.
Oh, thank you.
As always.
I'm going for, there's a social media week happening next week. I'm going to be a panelist. I'm excited about it. I'm going to be talking.
I think you do
content
this
is my area. No, honestly, no. This is my first time. It's the Guardian social media week.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. I saw the post. Yeah.
So
content.
Okay. Creating content.
They don't
in
bring your
today's
food
world.
home.
Sorry?
They've come home.
Yes.
That's your area.
Yeah, that's my area. That's a very comfort zone, totally comfort zone. I have my own views and I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm going to be part of that. And those of you who are following me can actually join me at the social media week next week. I'll be there. Let's go on a break. It's Thursday. We're gisting all the way, talking about life, family, relationships. But first, let's go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Disco's license is likely for revocation over poor power. Can leaders march for Leah Sheribu? Excess crude account drops from $325 million to $70 million in 1 month. Olubadan accuses Ibadan Obas of blackmail. 63 people on the watch as Lassa fever enters Lagos. Buhari appoints Ponde as acting NDDC MD. Suspect held for murder of presidency director. Okay, let's start with the Leah Sharibu. Khan is marching here.
Yeah, so the Christian Association of Nigeria yesterday carried out a march in honor of Leah Sharibu, who has been kidnapped or abducted for 2 years now. So they are appealing to the federal government, saying that we cannot have the army, the navy, the what's this other Air Force, and then we still have the rate of insecurity in the nation, that they have to do something about it. There was also a video that circulated recently, showing that the Turkish government allegedly is funding these insurgents. So Khan is asking that the federal government looks into it, and they are also warning that they should not carry out this rehabilitation of repentant Boko Haram, because it seems suspicious, like things are not really clear to us. So
thank you. I like the tone in which you describe, because it's actually a very sensitive issue, and it's important that we get it right. Okay, discos. Federal government is going hot.
The excess crude.
Okay.
Okay, the excess crude
oil. Yes, so the experts yesterday are saying that they are concerned that our excess crude oil account has dropped from $325 million to $70 million just within a month. And they're blaming it really on the governors insisting on sharing the proceeds, that comes from this. And also there's an implication for when this sort of drop happens. So we know that this is where we keep our extras when we make it. And the implication would mean that the exchange rate will definitely fall. And then we may have to devalue our naira. So just some of the implications of doing that. And we need to be careful. We need to look for other measures to raise funds instead of dipping into our excess reserve.
I read a report that said that we are actually subsidizing the dollar for about 40-something billion naira. And that's so, the fact that we have, which exchanging at 360 is
held together by central bank.
Exactly.
Wow.
So if we want to do the real rates, so the thing is that we have to really get
experts.
In fact, it's a frustrating development. But let's move on to daily trust at this point. Governance suffers in Taraba as Ishaku relocates to Abuja. State House director was killed after raising alarm. Buhari to lawmakers, Nigerians say you are overpaid. Ekiti government to translate laws into Yoruba language. FG to discos, perform or quit, no more subsidy. Okay, let's talk about the major headline.
Okay. So the governor of Taraba State, Darius Ishaku, has been away from Taraba State since December 22nd. Since he presented the budget on the 19th, he left to the FCT and has conducted the business of governance from the FCT since then. The APC chairperson in Taraba State, Barrister Ibrahim El-Sudi, raised the issue and says that it is an impeachable offence because he didn't hand over properly to the deputy governor, and as such, the deputy governor's activities will not be free and well done. The reason we always usually have to hand over to the deputy so that he can assert his authority properly, but this wasn't done. So he's calling on the House of Assembly to look into why the governor is absent. I just wonder why governors will have to do these things. When I read the story, I suspected he might have health issues. He might not have planned to be away, but he's caught up there. But if you declare it, it's your opponents that will use it.
PDP is saying that the governor has not done nothing wrong. Anyway, let's talk about the...
Letitia. So, Nankan Dakan, we read her story yesterday. She's the director that works in Aso Rock, who was murdered. Very sad story. So, more stories have come out as to the reason how it may have happened. In Vanguard, it was reported that she had, where she lives, she had noticed activities of some miscreants like Yahoo boys and reported to the police. And then when they were arrested, after a while, they were let go, and somehow was also leaked to these people that she was the one that reported. So as revenge for what she did, they attacked her and they killed her. They also left their phone. They had taken her things, her phones as well, but left their phones. And through that, they were able to arrest one Ediri Ohonre. Although the police is saying, be careful all the stories that you're hearing on social media, so that it does not affect our investigation. But if the story as reported in Vanguard is true, it is really sad, because every time we say to people, speak up when you see activities like this happening in your community, and then somebody loses their lives this way.
What is even worse, that it's been leaked, obviously. We don't know if it's the police, but somehow it was leaked.
Yes.
That she was the person, the suspect that actually...
Yeah, and
if you've
also
seen
I
such
found
a thing
out
before, you'd hit... you won't trust the security agents.
And I also found out that she finished from my school, St. Louis College. It was really close to home.
Moving on now to Vanguard, sorry, to Punch actually. Illegal migration. We may impose tough visa rules on Nigeria, says EU. It's strange that my brother jumped into lagoon, sister of suicidal man. Lassa fever, Lagos places 63 under surveillance. Port users groan over inability to evacuate cargoes. Olubadan, Ibadan Oba's blackmailing me to gain sympathy. It's wrong to think National Assembly members are overpaid, says Buhari. Nigeria oil reserves will dry up in 49 years, says DPR. Okay, so in the illegal migration, EU is warning that the Nigerians have refused to play their own part in helping to readmit Nigerians living illegally in 23 European countries, and which includes Italy, Germany, Spain, France, and others. And they're saying that they will impose tougher measures before getting visas. So they're not going to ban it. Okay. They're going to just make it harder,
very difficult
to get visas, just like in the US had recently banned. And according to Leonard, the US consulate, was saying that the reason why they have banned this Nigerians is because Nigerians have refused to provide intelligence, especially against terrorism, proper intelligence for them, and they need that to help also to guard their own safety of their own people. So,
can we take another?
Yes, please.
Lassa fever.
Okay. Yes, go ahead. Lassa fever. Let's take Lassa fever.
Okay, yes. So, especially in Lagos State, one particular person has been found to have this disease, and 63 other people that he may have communicated with or interacted with at the time have also been sort of put under surveillance. And it happens that he came from Ebonyi State to go to law school for a course, so he interacted with the law school clinic. He was taken there, treated for malaria, nothing happened, and then he was sent to the Air Force clinic as well, and then sent to Luth. So people around there at the time that he was there, about 63 of them, have been put under surveillance. And the number of deaths from Lassa fever in our country so far is 103.
Right.
Wow. I mean, it is increasing every day. Father, Lord, help us. I mean,
that's what we have. Oh, Father, Lord must help us.
Yes.
We don't have what
Lagos State has recorded
just Father, Lord.
Lagos State has recorded one case of Lassa fever, and we still have waste management issues. I must even commend them. Yesterday, I drove through Alimosho. The Loma, they were sweeping, but a collection of waste is still a problem. So collection.
The young man that died.
Yeah, so the sister is speaking up saying that she doesn't believe that he actually committed suicide, because this was a young man who had so many plans. Just about to round up NYSC, and he studied quantity survey in I think Lasso, and he talked about a lot of things he wanted to do with his life. So he had a hope, he had vision, and the mother on the other side saying that he's not the young man wasn't a depressed man. He was not into drug abuse or anything. The investigations have started. Though the search for him, he's still missing in the river. He hasn't been found yet.
Major picture. Anthony Joshua is in the country. He stopped by at his parents' village. I wouldn't say his village because he's British Nigerian.
Yes.
And
so it's not his village.
So it's not his father's village.
But he stopped by his ancestral home.
I like it. Where people succeed, everybody wants to be part of it.
So he went to his father's village. He didn't go to his own
home.
Moving on very quickly to Vanguard. Lack of funds stall autopsy of 6 exhumed corpses. How Aso Rock director was murdered. We talked about that already. Let's find a story we've not taken. Leah's mother begs British Prime Minister to help rescue her daughter. Discos have failed in power supply, says federal government. Let's talk about discos for a second.
It's major headline in the Sun. I wondered who has the major headline in the Vanguard.
I do. So that's the corpses. So I took the story yesterday where back in Delta State, where the clash resulting from the herdsmen and the farmers, where about 8 farmers were killed, and then they had to exhume the bodies, took them to the police station to prove that this actually happened. So now autopsy was supposed to be carried out on those bodies, but they are saying that there are no funds to carry out this autopsy. In fact, one of the council chairman had to drop some money for them to start autopsy on 2 of the corpses and not 8. As in, it's a painful thing. So
that's Nigeria. I don't know. They have no money for autopsy. No money. Which state is that again?
Delta State.
Delta has money.
That's the point.
For autopsy, at
least. The governor can fund it all. Governor Okowa, don't fall hand.
Totally
don't fall our hand.
Let's run very quickly to Daily Sun. Government descends on discos, stop subsidy. UNICEF rates Nigeria low in Global Child Flourishing Index. and APC-PDP trade wars over protests at Justice Odele's residence. Let's talk about discos.
So the Minister for Power, Salima Man, has been vexed by the discos and the performance, saying that, you know, we can generate up to 13,000 megawatts of electricity, but we cannot transmit all. And we can transmit about 7,000. But the discos are only willing to pay for 1,000 out of the 3,000 that they distribute. Yeah. And that, you know, they need to show that they can do more, that they are, he was saying at the FEC meeting that we're going to stop to subsidize, you know, power for the discos. We spent about a lot of trillions and we've not seen the results yet. There's something called power theft, a lot of other issues that, you know, that the discos deal with. I think that he should sit with them and have a conversation.
I'm sure we've had quite a few of these sits, and I'm not sure it's back and forth. Because obviously, according to them, they are generating power that they cannot sell. So these gencos are generating, but they don't have the capacity. These ones don't have the capacity to actually buy that, because they're not even getting the right revenue from the consumers. So this is a huge. Is that cycle that we need to actually have? Either we bring in more private players to actually buy more power from gencos so that they can actually have more
and then deal with the issue of transmission.
It's a very important story here that I wouldn't want us to miss. Okay. It's the fact that we are going to be borrowing 2.2 billion US dollars again from World Bank. And
take it from that money for
right now, that has increased our debt to 80 billion US dollars. Now, Nigerian professionals from organized labor and the private sector are kicking against it, saying that we do not have the means to repay or even service the debts. We are just more like mortgaging the future of the country. And but the World Bank is saying that these are going to be used for top 6 priority projects, which they mentioned, said improving immunization, enabling a stronger business environment for private sector, expanding digital economy, increasing public and private sector capacity on governance, and governance. So they mentioned about Just 4, and I would like them to give us like a breakdown, because all of these that they've mentioned is something that we are trying to, you know, generate revenue inside. We can actually afford to handle all of these. They mentioned they are going to be spreading mosquito nets for children and all of that. We're already handling it. We have non-governmental organizations who are supporting us to handle this. We don't need to borrow additional money to carry these out.
To run. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on front page review. I really want to take the Amoteko story, but unfortunately, we couldn't take it. But that's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, we have guests from Union Bank. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So the International Women's Day is fast approaching. All around the world, there's a spike in conversations around women empowerment, gender parity, and closing the gender gap. We're like that. On the show today, we have with us Nena Jacob Ogogo, the head of Alpha at Union Bank, and Kemi Ogunleye, head strategic communications, also at Union Bank. Welcome, ladies, to the show.
Thank you.
You can call us on 070-806-6814. You can also tweet us at TVC. Can I please hashtag YourVTVC so we can read your tweets. So tell us, what is Union Bank doing about World Women's Day? What's going on? Tell us.
Well, annually at Union Bank, we have our International Women's Day activity. So it's coming up, I think, the 6th of March. We'll be telling you more details and sending you invitations for that one separately. But today we're here to talk about Alpha, which is our women's banking proposition. You know, I came across a study recently that says that if we continue at the current rate of progress, it's going to take 108 years before we close the global gender gap and 202 years to attain economic gender parity. So I don't think any of us has 100 years or 200 years to wait for us to see real progress in this area. So that's why we need all hands on deck. That's why, you know, sometimes you talk to people and they say every time, women this, women that, what's happening, what about the men? But we need to put all hands on deck. We don't have 100 years for this. We have to start seeing change now. So for us at Union Bank, as a financial institution that always has a strong legacy of supporting Nigerians and supporting women, for us, this is part of our DNA. So, you know, we've been involved in activities that empower Nigerians for the past more than 100 years that we've been existing. But I'll talk about more recent
So let
activities.
me come to you. What are we doing about the Alpha community? What's that about?
Okay, so the Alpha community really is Union Bank's proposition for women.
Okay.
Like my colleague was saying, all hands have to be on deck, okay? And because this is what Union Bank has been doing from time immemorial, really, it was just natural to say, what can we do, okay, to bridge this gap? And we held focus sessions, survey groups, because it was important to know exactly what is it that the Nigerian woman wants. If we say we're coming in, what are we bringing to the table? Okay, how are we adding value to the Nigerian woman? And that's how the Alpha proposition was birthed.
Let's break it down because a lot of banks have women. It's like it's a market. Let's just commercialize this.
Like a marketing
So
strategy.
what exactly is unique to Union Bank's idea and how genuine? What sets it apart from the others?
Okay, so I like that question because when you think about it really, if all the banks are doing it, then how come we still have this much of a gap, right? It means there's something wrong. So are we just paying lip service to it? Is it a fad? And that's what it seems to be. What makes Union Bank's proposition really, well, let me say unique, is the fact that we treat a woman in from a holistic point of view. So you're a woman, you're a mother, you're a businesswoman, you're a wife, you're also an individual, and you have needs in all these aspects of your life. So the Alpha proposition actually addresses each of these needs. It comes from, are you an entrepreneur? We have something for you. You're a woman, an individual, a career woman, we have something for you. You're a mother, we have something for you.
So it's
You're a
all
wife,
inclusive.
it's all inclusive.
Yeah. So what exactly do women stand to gain by joining this Alpha community?
So you're a businesswoman, for example, we have opportunities for your business growth, okay? As whether you're a small SME or a big corporate, you have certain needs. What we have done is, one of the things we found out when we had our surveys is that a lot of times when you ask a businesswoman what does she want, the usual response is, I want a loan. Because a lot of people think exactly that's all they need. We found out that it's not just about getting a loan. There's a space your business will be in that if you take a loan for that business, it's actually going to crash that business. You won't actually, you won't do better. Wow. Okay, so sometimes you actually need a bit of training. A lot of us in Nigeria, a lot of people go into business not because you're a business person, but because maybe something has happened to the breadwinner of the house and the situation has changed and I just have to do something to look after my family. So I go into that business, but I'm not trained for that business. Sometimes you don't know whether you're making a profit, you don't know whether... So we actually train the businesswoman, okay? We get you to that place where your business can stand on its feet. We get you to that place where you understand your business.
When it comes to Kemi, so how do we register? How does a woman participate in this community?
Okay, so just jumping on the back of what Nena has said, Alpha is for every woman. So whether you are a career woman, whether you're a woman in business, whether you're a woman just thinking about going into business, Alpha is for you. And it's free to join. Just log on to our website, www.alphawoman.com. I'm going to spell Alpha, A-L-P-H-E-R, woman.com, and register to join the community. That's all it takes.
Oh, you don't have to open an account?
You don't have to open a Union Bank account to be part of the Alpha community.
Really?
No.
At
But
some
if you
point,
ask-
won't you be asked?
well, I mean, there are
The caveats.
benefits. No, there's no caveat. You
Okay.
really, literally, you don't have to be a Union Bank account holder to join the community and to participate in, like Nena said, it's a community.
Right.
And we want to be able to create a platform where women can not just get help for themselves, but also support each other. So there's a hub on the website. Women can have conversations, they can share resources.
Right.
You don't have to be
Okay, that's good to
an
know.
account holder to join that community. But of course, there are certain benefits that you get when you open an account with us, and we want you to have access to those benefits. So open an account with us as well.
Nice, yes. All right, so is there anything else you'd like to inform? Because obviously people are listening right now and are thinking, especially those who are housewives, they sometimes a woman just feels like I have nothing to offer. For somebody who doesn't have a business and she just wants, yes, she gets some money from pocket money here and there and she wants to save, but yet anytime she saves, either she has to use to go and do personal things. What can Union Bank offer a housewife who doesn't probably have means of proper income? What can you do to help that kind of person?
Okay, so two things we can do. One is if you're a housewife and you're just okay with being a housewife, okay, so what you want to do is to save from the monies you're getting already. We have innovative savings and investment solutions. Okay, in Union Bank, we actually have like a a department, the Treasury Department for that. We have wealth management solutions. We're also partnering with other consultants. And we're talking about, when I say innovative, I mean like really innovative. For example, we are housewives, okay? And so the monies we get are not so much. There are consultants we're partnering with that you can actually start investing in real estate.
Oh, really?
Yes, with those little amounts every month.
Fantastic.
So that's why I say innovative. The next thing is if you're a housewife and you actually want to do something but you don't know how to go about it, you know, Alpha is also the platform for that, because we have trainings, and on the websites, on the hub, sometimes you can actually download videos that tell you how to go about getting a side hustle. And then if you indicate your interest and you reach out to us, we can actually follow you.
Okay, I have to wrap up. Go ahead.
How active is this hub so far? What would you say? Are Nigerian women taking advantage of this?
Okay, well, you know, we actually just launched officially on the 30th of January. So that's when we launched the hub. And we already have 2,000 subscribers. So I'd say that's really good.
So we are joining too.
So we're about to round off, and you see, a lot of people are watching. Some of them are really not online people, you know, especially Union Bank. I always see Union Bank as an old generation bank. So all my old aunties, my mothers, I say the perception I have, my mother's age, they have Union Bank accounts. So those women right now, can they still part? They're older. You know, does this hub have a place for these older women who have Union Bank accounts?
So Alpha is for every
type of
woman.
woman.
If you can't get online, you can go into one of our branches. We have relationship managers who are there. They will talk
ask
to you.
for a relationship manager, because
Just tell them that I had heard about Alpha on TVC.
Okay.
What is Alpha? There's somebody at any of our branches who can
Fantastic.
answer that
Fantastic.
question.
Oh, very good.
We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. So
Union
I've
Bank
gone
is
back
on
to
Twitter.
Yes.
I hear Union Bank.
So please, our handles are at Union.
I had the impression Morayo had for years. That's why I had a bank account with you, and it was supposed to be secret. Then once I had an emergency, I was in the hospital, I just really wanted an ATM. ATM had expired like 5 months ago. So, you know, usually you apply and then they will come and pick it up. And I walked in and I was like, no, you just sit down, I'll get it for you now. I was like, Union Bank.
Whoa!
Union Bank.
I have to recruitment check.
That's what we can take. When we come back, Kemi will be joining us to gist today. So many women-related issues on the table. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Now, welcome back. So, this morning, we want to be talking to ourselves. We want to bar our way. A Nigerian man has beaten his wife over infidelity, leading to her losing 4 teeth. We can't show you the pictures, trust me, they're gory. According to the report, the man was arranging to relocate his family from Benin to Canada with all their children. They have 3 children. The Canadian embassy, however, requested for a DNA test, only for the man to find out that all 3 children are not his. Now, obviously, he beat his wife, and she lost 4 teeth. Now, nothing, and he really disfigured her face. Now, nobody's justifying violence in any shape or fashion, regardless of what somebody did. But we need to speak truth to ourselves when these kind of things happen. You can call us on 070-806-6814. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweets. We've discussed this topic before, but the angle I'd like us to look at it this morning is accepting that a woman has erred or has done wrong in giving somebody else another person's child.
Trying to help your future.
Let us accept that fact. You've goofed. All 3 of your children do not belong to your husband.
Yes.
Not acceptable in any shape or fashion, but that is your reality. If you are that woman today, would you now wait for a Canadian embassy opportunity for your husband to find out and you get disfigured? Or what is the best approach to resolve that issue today? We don't want to talk about, don't get to that point. We're talking about women who are there. It's there right now, and they're watching TV.
Who we still do.
So what would we tell this woman at this point? What are your thoughts on this? Let me start with Who wants to go first? Mariam?
Nima
You're
is
still
If you are there,
Mariam, go ahead. Nima, go ahead.
so if you are there already and that's your story, please, because the cinema is religious, don't give the child of somebody else, no matter the status of the father of that child. And women try to justify it because they say we don't discuss infertility of male infertility enough, so men don't come out with these things. Women kind of sort it out. There was a tweet sometime that we even addressed where the person was saying that if your wife has children for you and you find out they're not yours, thank her. Please, if it is not a conversation that the two of you decided and concluded and agreed upon, she's not helping you in any way. Infidelity solves no problem. They say two wrongs don't make it right. If he has a problem, find ways to solve it. Forget all these stories that we hear. The treatments and methods are almost 80% accurate now. They solve these problems. So why cut corners and say you were helping? If you think your man is not man enough in that corner, in that area, sit down, discuss it. If he's finding it difficult to discuss, walk out of that marriage. Don't taint yourself to solve a problem. Now, 3 kids, not be half. 3. Not one. You don't even leave anything.
But in cases where a man knows his problem and then agrees for the woman to, okay, I can't
Go ahead.
Go ahead. But
He wouldn't have beaten her like that.
But shouldn't there be a signed document? Because these things happen. You agree today. In 10, 15 years, the husband will say, I'm okay.
I didn't send you.
So when those, we're trying to advise. Let's speak the truth here. In that kind of situation, if your husband has agreed, get a document. You have said I should do this. How many children am I going to have? And you've agreed and you signed. So you have that one to protect your integrity. That's just an advice on my own end. But let me come to Biajulu. In this kind of situation, we don't want to advocate violence because what that man did was obviously wrong. And in fact, he should be arrested for what he did. The pictures, the producers have chosen not to show those pictures. It's really, really bad. Yeah. But what would you say in this situation?
So the thing I see here is somebody identifying a problem and solving it all by herself in a relationship where you have 2 people. The idea that we both come together is that we are one. And that means that whatever we face, we are supposed to work it together, find solutions to it together. Now, she could have realized that this man cannot impregnate me. And instead of having a conversation, Uncle, can we go for tests? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we have a conversation and just find solutions together? She decided to solve it by herself. Now, it's also possible that she met this uncle and said, I have noticed this, and this, and I have a friend. This is not a lie. Men don't like to go for such tests. We have to change our character.
Yeah.
They don't like to. This particular friend kept dragging the husband, He refused till she called family members, and luckily, by the time they got to the hospital, they realized that he had the problem and not the woman, and they were able to solve it. What about men that do not even agree at all? So it's still possible that she may have mentioned, I'm not able to get pregnant, and the man says, it's your fault, I don't want to hear. And so she decided to handle it by herself. So the problem here is, first of all, there was no disclosure of the situation. It's also possible the man was aware, because I handled a case almost recently where the man was aware that he could not, and so deceived this lady who was a born again, who said no sex before marriage. This was even a case of impotence, so he could not even do it at all. Jesus. And they got married, only for the lady to realize that I can't. And what the man said was, you can actually go ahead, meet somebody else, it's okay, and have children. And the woman said, I'm a Christian, I will not do that. We have to dissolve this marriage. But some people will agree. It's still their choice. Let's not
go on a break. Let's go. Let's digest a bit of this information. We'll come back, we'll continue. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, I'm yet to get Mariam's perspective on this. Okay. Go ahead.
So the where I'm starting my conversation is this has happened, and it has already happened. And a lot of homes, we have this kind of conversations. It's just that it's almost very few times you have it on the conversation of the woman bringing children that are not her husbands into the home. It's usually fathers bringing children home.
Yeah.
After 10 years of marriage, we cannot have children. Don't worry, sis, we're believing in God or something. Don't worry. 10 years later, they bring 3 children into your home and said, see, your husband has fathered 3 children outside. And then family members will sit you down and tell you, calm down. See, a betrayal is a betrayal. What she did is wrong. If he was unaware that this was her plan, what she did was wrong totally. But there is no room for beating her the way that he beat her. There is no way. We have talked here about women who find their husbands cheating and somebody is beating the side chick and we say, why don't you talk to the man involved? So why are we beating a woman because of something that we can converse? After all, our tradition has taught us that we can talk about these things. When they bring children into your home that do not belong to you, we can sit down, we can be patient, and we can go back to God in prayer, and then we can accept it. Why are you beating her up like that? See, I know the thing will be crucify her. But there's a reason we are here today. There's a reason that people are doing this sort of things, betraying their spouses, both men and women. We have refused to look at infertility on both sides. You have church programs going on all over our country. Come for the fruit of the womb. How about the fruit of the loins? Yeah, do you understand? These are things we need to talk about. This man may have had problems. BC gave her own scenario. Maybe he just never knew. But I know personally of people who are going on 10, 15 years with their spouses, begging this man, let us go to hospital. They will tear her, they will put scissors in her, they will cut her in many ways, sew her up, many years. But this man has refused to take a step to the hospital. So if we lie to ourselves, these are the sort of things that that happen. I am not justifying betrayal, but that's just one thing. Let's look for the reason why people are doing this.
There's this culture of silence. So when a man has a problem,
yes, he can't
keep quiet about it. But when a woman also has a problem,
we're not giving ourselves some credit. We've really moved away from that. You are talking of the 80s experience of infertility. We've really advanced from that. The truth is, no fertility treatment goes on without testing both parties. Except you are not taking. I took fertility treatment. As I was taking my own, they tested Oga. They will do a sperm count for him. So these are issues that you must discuss. There's no single-handed helper. And you see, the man got a shock. He got his DNA result for his kids and found out they're all 3. Madam, how far? He was provoked. Usually the traditional
started with this let's not go to provoke.
Okay, even loyally even legally I've explained that he will get away with it. I don't want to talk
about it because the beating is unexcusable. You can't take
that beating was as a result of crime of passion. Yes. This let me explain. So traditionally, yes, our men usually they will come out and say, I can even get such a story tomorrow. They say there are 3 kids somewhere that Oga has. Since I have cooked mine up for that one, in case it happens, because these things happen every time. But the truth is, somebody will prepare themselves to take the beating, to take time to give you that explanation. Nobody walks into your house or you just wake up one morning and finds a DNA result saying that your husband's children, or he has children outside.
Let's bring this conversation,
and without you reacting.
Okay, let's bring the conversation back to you have children today that don't belong to your husband. How do you go about it? Because you don't want to wait for a Canada opportunity to get beaten up. So what do you do today?
Better have that conversation.
Let us begin to have that conversation. Or call family meeting. Or
let me call your husband into the room.
Just say you're not going anywhere. In fact, you never need the DNA. Just take part.
Call your husband to the room and say, honey.
You can't call your darling. No, you kill you die. You die. Family meeting. Please, let's listen. Because you can't do a private conversation with that one.
Why can't you? Depends on
kill you. No, you need family. There has to be.
So you're not exposed. No, see. No, understand something. Some men may not want to be exposed. That's the truth. Because if anything happens to this man and he dies, they send you away with the children. So, he has loved these children. He has trained these children. They are part of him, whether he's biological or not. Hold on now. So he, on his own, if he's someone who understands that I may have this problem, and he's already adapting to, maybe there was a miracle or maybe there was no miracle, and then you expose it to the family members.
Okay,
You have killed him.
So let me, if I were in her shoes, what would I do? I'll probably have a one-on-one conversation with his mother or somebody pretty close to him that I know that, okay, this man can control himself. Get 2 or 3 of those kinds of people, have that confidential conversation with them, and then they agree on a day where they will come to the house, where the husband too will be there. And it doesn't have to be the entire family.
Okay,
they are confident, those people, because you don't want to risk a one-on-one conversation like that.
Okay,
you might not survive it.
No, my own is, I think in my own case, it will be both of us. See,
Privately.
Yes, privately.
Yeah,
This is what I have done. What are we going to do about it? See, and then I am ready. It may be the end of it completely, or it may just be, see, I'm leaving you for a bit. But I would rather just the 2 of us. This is not a conversation for anyone else. You know, there's something they talk about with celebrities, that celebrities go through the same problems people go through in their homes. But because it's public, the consequences for them is it's more, you know,
grave, yes.
yes, more grave, because you know, now everybody's participating in it. And then your ego and everything, you're like, what if I go back? What will people say? So, and I think it's also for family. What will my mother say? What would my mother say to me if I go back? What will my siblings say?
So I guess you
but
have
if
to
it's just the 2 of you, you might decide that this is something
cover
you
it
can
up.
work through.
So I guess you have to know the kind of
Violence.
you have to know the kind of husband you have.
And people are working
If
through
you have
things
a
like
husband that is a
children.
family man that respects his family, maybe you can consider it. But a man that who is like me myself, but so know the kind of
3
person that you have.
children.
Yes.
Hey, madam, please, if you are in the situation where you feel that your fighter and your spouse is not, right now, please, if he's not, give him an ultimatum.
Nima, you're not
Hold on
answering
a
the
minute.
question. You
Hold on.
already have these
I want to
children.
just
What
do
will
my
you
own
do?
advice now. I will not even have these children. Okay. I have children, Bawo. I'm telling you, don't even have children. See, sit him
Leave
down,
the
have a
marriage.
conversation, give him an ultimatum that, see, this is a process. If you don't want to work with me through this, I will walk out on you. Walk out on him if he calls your bluff. Better than you getting children that you have to account for. Even those children, you've tainted them entirely. What is that? Think it through. Please, people should have complex thinking. Work out. If children is what you are looking for, go and find it. If love and marriage just are looking for, people can have peaceful and happy marriages without children. Life is not such a difficult thing. What if this woman cheated 3 times? On our ovulation date and had three illegitimate children and forced them on this man?
Okay, I have to go on a break. I was hoping we could wrap up on this because
Yeah, I
want
just
us to move
wanted
on.
to say that I know that you will never be in such a situation. You are not that sort of person. But we have people watching us today. That is their story. And they are thinking, I have seen how this man has battered this woman. I will not speak up. But we want to talk to that woman who finds herself in this situation. You must speak up.
Don't wait for
And you
Canada
can
visa.
do the Mariah route. Call a family meeting and have it, or you can do the Obeajulu route, talk to your husband one-on-one. But be prepared for the consequences. It may mean the end of your marriage, and you have really hurt those children. But if you're in that position, you need
It's
to
only
speak
the
up.
end of your
And
marriage.
the third option, which I would not advise, is just carry your pikin and just
disappear.
relocate to just go to maybe
Disappear and leave a note.
Australia or
Send a
something.
note.
Just
Send him
sit down,
SMS.
part there, and
Send
just say you're raising
SMS
your children
and
because unfortunately we have to wrap up on that. When we
Yes, you
come
are
back,
good.
we'll try to treat another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, moving on to other topics. A media personality took to her social media tweet and said, cooking is not restricted to gender. Guys, learn how to cook so you do not base the entirety of picking a life partner on your belly. If you want to make enough to hire a chef, life is too short to be triggered all the time. What do you think about this? We'd like to hear your thoughts. You can call us again on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC. Please hashtag UVTVC so we can read your tweet. I know you like to cook, so let me start with you. Do you agree with her that today men should just learn how to cook? Or do you still feel like a woman should be the one to have that role to feed her husband?
Okay, for me, there are no roles. Anybody can fill in any role and fill it well. And for me as a parent, when I'm raising my children, I want them to be able to take care of themselves with or without marriage. So as a boy, you should be able to cook, clean, wash, you know, just do the basic things that will help you survive anywhere you find yourself. That is my role as a parent. Now, I had a conversation with a young girl yesterday on my way home, and she was telling me that she has about 2 suitors who are coming for her hand in marriage, and she was telling me that one of them was asking her, "Shay, you can cook? Oh. Me, I like my food fresh." They've not started dating. So she was asking me, me, I don't like to cook. It's not something I enjoy doing. So what do? I said, have this conversation with him. Tell him that I'm not the cooking type. If he wants to marry a chef, he should go and hire a chef. He should go and hire a chef. If he wants to marry me, these are the qualities that I have. Cooking is not one of them. Make it known now. Don't go there. I say, because if you go there, it will, you know, put you into trouble.
So it's good he's telling her up front.
Yes, and it's good for her to also tell him up front that I can't do this fresh cooking for you.
But there's nothing wrong in a man saying, I want a woman that can cook.
Then he should marry somebody that can cook, the way my husband married me, that can cook. He should not go and marry somebody like Miriam who doesn't like to cook and start quarreling tomorrow. That's the point. So you know what you like and know how to get it. But normally everybody should be able to handle themselves.
Thank you for taking us there. So is it good for us to still raise women, girls that know how to cook for their husband? Because the way, listen, because the way we are doing it now, we're raising our kids to be independent regardless of your gender, right? Yes. That's fine. But if there are still boys in future that would want to marry somebody because of our ability to take care of me and cook fresh food. And there's some girls right now that are actually being trained like that, and they are making them ready for marriage. And those kind of women get married easily sometimes. So are we saying, I'm telling you, are we not changing that conversation? Because the truth is that the girls in the future might actually lose that if we keep raising them to feel as if you don't have to learn how to cook.
Cooking is a life-saving skill, life skill.
Okay.
It's like swimming and driving, whatever you can, yes, it's a life skill. So you can do it whichever way that you like. Raising proper girls to know how to love, let me put it like this. For men looking for women who want to tell them they love them by food or anything, it could be any other thing. A woman can be, what's the problem? Let me do some transfer. I've just transferred some money to you to make your life easy. She must not be the kitchen type. You as a man, help your life, like Toke is saying. If you want to eat, cook your food.
Simple.
Okay.
It's the same thing. It's just.
I don't even get my point. You not answer the question. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, so first of all, I can't believe 2020, Nigerian men and women, we're still talking about cooking. See, cooking for me, I feel is just a symptom of what's just happening in our world today. There's a traditional marriage way where people had like defined roles. So the man would go out and spend his whole time just chasing the money. But in doing that, he will make sure that all the needs of everyone, from wife to in-laws, are met. I mean, in the old days, when you want to marry, you will build huts for your in-laws, for your brothers, for your cousins. That was his role. So in appreciation of this, your hard work, you come home to a warm plate. In fact, they say Calabar women will help you massage your feet. You have done well. You have been a hunter and you have done well. We now have a new type of marriage. Modern women. You are saying, see, I can't hunt alone. Auntie, carry your bow and arrow. Let's go and hunt together. We spend the same time in the forest. Then we'll come home. We have carried the rabbit home. There is me again that will now be cooking the rabbit. Meanwhile, you are tired. You can imagine that I'm tired as well. So the thing that's happened is we want to enjoy the benefits of one type of marriage, but we don't want to share in the responsibilities. And that's why we're using cooking up and down. So everybody, should learn how to cook. We're talking of just nourishing yourself. If you know how to wipe your bum, you should know how to cook for yourself, to nourish yourself. But if you're looking for that extra chef-like thing, there are 2 things you can do. If you have that sort of interest, you can pursue it as a man. There's so many male chefs in the world making a whole lot of money. And you can even make it
that does not like to
if that's one of your criteria for a wife, that she must be a chef, then look for that sort of people. There are many single chefs in Lagos that I know doing very well.
Let me try to come to you that, because there are some women, I hear you, and you're talking for the modern woman. But there are some women that love to cook.
Like
it's
me.
inherent in
I'm
them.
here.
They love, in fact, they were raised to cook and they enjoy that skill. And for them is an advantage in marriage. And they want a man who likes to eat. They want a man who wants me to serve them. And so when a woman is like that, and a friend has a man has a friend whose wife is like that, and see how this woman just they worship you, they cook for you, everything. Sometimes let us not make it look as if that woman is being subservient or she's not being a modern woman, because that woman can actually be a modern woman that chooses.
And that's the point I made. This is who you are. You enjoy it, so you go the extra mile. There are some wives, they are very good at hosting. That is what they love to do. They may not put the food together, but every time everybody wants to go to their homes on Saturday or on Fridays because that woman can host. You enjoy yourself. So we should understand we have different kinds of women as we have different kinds of men.
Okay, let me come to you.
I will also say that it's okay to have your criteria when you're choosing a spouse. We all have our lists. For some of us, we say that his English must be impeccable. We don't want chicken and sips. We don't, yes. He must not be chicken and chips. Chicken and chips. He must not be short. He must not have mouth odor. He must be able to clean up. You know, we have all of those lists. It's okay too if a man in his list has, she must be able to cook.
Oh, hey, see, that's where I want us to be clear.
Yes, it's okay, it's very okay. Because my husband had that. With all the, I want tall, slim, beautiful, intelligent, blah, blah, blah. Cooking was even number one for him.
Yes.
And I checked that list, which is okay. But the thing with marriage is that it evolves. And unfortunately, some men don't want to evolve along with it. Now, let me tell you what has happened. When we started this marriage, I will cook all day. I will be in the tying wrapper on my chest. I'll be in the kitchen all day. It's not a problem. I enjoy it. I will host for the family. If anybody is having an event, I will go to their house and take over their kitchen and cook and serve and do everything. But after a while, when I started making some money, and I didn't want to go older than myself, older than my husband, I had to tell Auntie, calm down before you start aging. Calm down. And I started calming down. Now, I have a chef in the house. I can actually give him noodles back to back. He doesn't complain. You know why? I have proven everything I need to prove. He's not in competition with anybody whose wife cooks better. Do you understand? We have moved away from that part. Men should be ready that even when you marry the person who cooks everything, she needs her time. She needs to rest. You need to understand her. So when you have the ability to cook, you will step in and help her.
This is where I have a problem. Marrying just for food.
Yes.
No, let's go there.
No, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
That's your choice.
Wait,
men have a time. You can choose.
Not just for food.
So some men want to marry Buka.
Yes, that's your choice. If there's a Buka,
no, that's fine. You now want, when you marry Buka, you now be forcing Buka to be posh, nice, this, that. Don't be confused.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't mix well.
Okay.
I can cook.
Okay.
I can cook.
I get your point.
But I don't like to cook.
Yeah.
When I'm cooking for my husband, it has to be from a place I'm just pleased with. I just want to cater to him. He should be fine and happy. You will see me cooking, I'll be smiling. But on a normal day, you people are just like T3 visiting my house, expecting to eat. I'll be looking at it. I'm tired. I don't like that. I don't like it. You sit down, everybody. I don't like it. I grew up under that situation. My mother had a roaster, and it was every 2 days my turn to cook for the entire house, and my uncles never got tired of, give me my food, lunch. As you are done breakfast, you're doing lunch. I don't like it. Don't stress me. But I could cook a full table just to please one person. I'm happy with him. I'm cooking. So there's a difference. If you want Buka and you want it on fleek, on point, everything, just go to Buka and be marking lists.
No.
So there's another point which she made, which is we should not base our life partner on that cooking. And it's important. See, there used to be a time, and it happens to university. I want my son, when he's in university, he can cook for himself. So that one girl, because boys do it, find themselves they are now trapped in a relationship by the one that can cook for them. You know, she's the one that, with her, I know that I will eat. But imagine if he could do it himself. Like my husband now. There are things, if you say you can, my husband doesn't know how to cook, but he will know how to make a few things for himself. If you say you're tired or you're wasting his time, he'll be like, thank God I have my hands and legs. So there's nothing you can use to make him, yes. And that's what I want for my child. I want my child, when he looks at a woman, he will consider the qualities that are most important. Is she a good person? Is she a kind person? Is she hardworking? Is she smart? Cooking can be learned. You mentioned that I do not like cooking, but when I cook, my sister, is beautiful. My children wait for Sundays because I understood that. See, when I got married, yes, when my children started coming, when I started having my children, I just wanted to give them the best and the most nutritious food. And where I could not, I'm able to, thankfully, and I thank God for that privilege, able to get someone in my house who provides that for us. Yeah. But I can cook. And that's the thing about cooking. Some people are even trying to get off the boat. Some people, while in marriage, will get on the boat. They'll be like, this one, when I marry, I could not cook.
So I get. So I want to be clear that we're on the same page here. So
cooking is
because there are some men that want to marry a buka.
Yes.
Are we saying it is wrong?
No.
Okay. So you can marry that buka, but don't expect that buka to be somebody else.
No, what we're saying is that you can marry buka, but don't make buka the most important thing.
No, if you choose to, if it's important to you.
No. This is what I'm explaining to you. You know how people will say, I like this girl, she's crazy, but she's fine, Sha. So you marry a crazy person because she's fine. Do you understand? Okay. So make sure that on top of her fineness, she has those important qualities that can keep her as a wife.
No.
What Mora is saying is,
you want to marry a buka, you have signed up. It's like joining the army.
Accept it.
Don't complain later.
Those are saying she's not all.
Yes. It's like the same thing. Some men want women who can meet them halfway financially. You want a corporate wife, and they are demanding, you are domesticating her inside the marriage. I want you
That's
free,
the problem.
outspoken. Don't force her life. Don't make her life hard. You will make your life miserable.
You can't have it all, bro. You can't have it all. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back. No call.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
right, so we have to take a lot of tweets. We have so many tweets. Go ahead, Nima. Go ahead.
So Stone says, an African woman is expected to know how to cook and cook for her husband at all times. Stop misleading our young ladies with your awful views.
Yes.
Why should I hire a chef when I have a wife?
Please marry a booker.
Chef wife, this sort of rhyme, eh? Ayomide says, men still have the mindset of them fetching money home and she stays in the kitchen all the time. But it's wrong in this generation. I will say cooking is meant for anyone and everyone.
So there's still tweets on the last topic. Azodo says, cheating is not allowed in any way you look at it, but beating is worse because it still does not change the fact that what has happened. Just walk away rather than do that.
Mr. Adebayo says it's not a good idea for a lady not to know how to cook. It will be difficult to have a home without the skill. You may eventually lose your husband to the lady that knows how to cook and act on the other.
For many reasons.
Wow.
For many reasons.
TJ Akimbo says, it's okay for a woman to cook for her family. If you're a career woman, plan yourself well. Husband, please assist your wife to make her cooking easy. There's no harm in staying in the kitchen and helping.
VIH says, I do my best, but won't slave for any man. If he goes to work and I'm home, I cook and clean. But before he returns, I don't have a problem with that. And that's easy now.
Says, some husbands cannot even change diapers for their kids. Men should assist their wives during their free time. Making ego is not the only thing that makes a man. A man, help your wife in the kitchen sometimes.
Honorable Ademola says, I think cooking should not be left to the women. All men should be encouraged to learn how to cook because these days women are also engaged in other things like commitment to work and parenthood and will need help from their partners. A man should be able to step in.
Mr. Innocent says,
You have to run.
no man cheats because his wife cannot cook
At all.
God bless you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Innocent Jare. Thank you very much. That's all we can take. Unfortunately, I think today was a good show. We had a conversation on issues women go through. And again, if you're a woman out there and your children do not belong to your husband, it's wrong. Don't wait till he finds out in shock. Find a way to get him to understand what's happening so that we don't hear of your obituary. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.